All things relative. It's generally my schizoid personality disorder, manic bipolar, hypervigilant, PSDD. You're looking for when the key comes in, right? You're in the grocery store, just zombie mode, trying to get my stuff, right? Stuff, I need stuff, I gotta get it. And that brings in the orchard. It's generally innocuous model, but you got to know the foundation model and read containment procedures. This one specifically is a bottomless pit. It's got a legacy standard to it while they're working sweet cherries. It's a cherry pick and hacking model nowadays. It's not too old. Um, some of these other trolley car pitches of do you run over one or save the 10 argument is why it's hard to determine. It'll definitely go Keter. And that's why you're advised to right off the hop just catch that kill agent right off the front of saying, well, it's not a cherry tree and it's not something else. And what is it? Well, it's containment procedures. In this specific case, you're asked to disregard one of the three means, which is in itself the science study, black hole models. There's a legacy um, cost to what this is. So psychologically, this is the same thing. In SCP, universe is a secure, contain, protect situation. So you're sitting behind the desk. You're trying to cherry pick the best of models inside here that don't turn to cyanide on your models, as far as them obviously doing some form of the reaction Nile red down the range. And if you like the DCG, I think it's 738, room 1, 2, or 3, you can see how the nature of Sloppy Joe is a Class D type. And when you get it wrong between X and Y or little delta and delta, or because they're supposed to have a specific, let's say, numerological or figure form, because kids, right, you want to bring this right back down to some cup, some tree, get it back to containment procedures of time-dependent operators. You want to do everything you can to make sure you keep that rabbit in the box. So back to the schizoid personality disorder of some natures of Psych 13. I've definitely worked it up, and in this way right here, I'm really not supposed to talk about my case or anything else. It's very esoteric that it's going to Warcliffe through that Higgs accord or baryacoustic oscillations. I say that, you say yes, that's an echolocation. That's the proper math of sigma about a cherry tree plant or outpatient, inpatient, the stone mill line, what is defined as a railgun in terms of the emergency response technician. Let's bring it back to the first step, baryacoustic oscillating reciprocals here. And again, that would be at the standpoint of you agree with that standpoint, 9 o'clock. What's the term they call for that in the military? Direct confirmation. Yeah, that's going to be a salty file for me. That's a very specific, because there's a difference between delta and whatever. There's a kid, there's adult, and therefore when you have two different indexes of what was an implied model of a specific force or a doctrine, the domain, that you can invoke types of standards. So you'll probably I'd try to run a 2/3 for a moment. You're enriching that core uranium pellet, but I am still technically burning it on the back end. We have to put in work and define them as an individual state of the same mathematics that X-ray, microwave, and in this case, it would just be the solar cycle. So if you take your grow logs out and you apply it from mustard seed to double coconut, then M2 is going to be your pot plant. If you really wanted to screw with somebody, you take them all the way down. You could just go, well, what would it take opium? What was its history model? If you had to be a technical expert on it across the board, back to the Asian book of medicine that was integrated, not just only in the form of whatever they deformed as THC at the time, but also the longbow and some of the nature of the hemp in those systems, manufacturing and system, the longbow. We can do an experiment. We unloaded so much right there. I would just love to see any potential come out of something as far as the thesis that goes like that. But the truth of the matter is, when you're in certain situations, I might not like the way the field charge is going. And so how then do I defend myself without being extorted beyond the contract in itself? We had a certain agreement. That's most likely a probability about not putting so much information inside of here, given how long I've been flapping at the jaw. So Please.